Shalom, everybody. Welcome. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Getting ready to go on the road. Well, actually, we're on the road. Taking a break. Get this live going for you all. And thank you for being part of the community today. If it's your getting the podcast up and running so they can run simultaneously. Sorry for a little bit of background noise. The car is running. Hopefully, you all are doing well, though. Thanks for spending some time with us yet again. Oh, you know what? Let me say this prayer real quick, then I'm gonna rush and get something real quick. But basically, on the rising tomorrow, we should have that. I'm gonna be right back though. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna be right back. Okay. Alrighty. What y'all doing? Somebody said they want to know when Dawes Effects is getting back together. Well, I'm not gonna be able to give you none of that on here. And shalom, everybody. Once again, shalom, Brother Jermaine, Sister Kelly. See you guys on the podcast. How you doing? Uh, Big Brother Thomas on here. Once again, Minister Tamara. How are you doing? And we're continuing our series. This is part 4, uh, having been led as we believe. And y'all get to see me put my little shea butter on. This is actually from one of the people in our community, Sister Beverly. So if you like some shea butter, it's very nice. Very nicely done. Stuff that comes over from Israel. You got tree butter, Israel oils. Share with them. I can give you their information, and you can be a blessing to them, and they can be a blessing with you. The product is great, and it's basically something that we've been using this for a while. So we've been talking about it for a while, actually, even on the last right TikTok before they took down the last channel. Or at least they say they didn't take it down. They say that it's accessible, but nobody can see it outside of myself. So um, I guess actually, if you look for it, I don't know. If you look for Kofi underscore 42, I don't know if it pops up now or not. But we're still doing stuff behind the scenes to get that on board. So we'll have information on that. But so if you want to check that out, check out Sister Beverly and Sister Barbara and what they're doing with their stuff. Feel free to join us. We're thankful and grateful to have everybody on here, and we're getting, as we talked about earlier, we give all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. Um, And we give all praise to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. Um, what is it? We talked about culture, the first 2 parts yesterday. We talked about law. And, we want to talk about today as far as, um, I guess, as far as who we are, if you want to put it that way. We want to talk about who we are today. And thank you for everybody for being on. I see you coming on, Sister Shima. Once again, it's shea butter, it's body butter. But once again, we're going to get into kind of who we are. Like, who are we? Who do we believe that we are? Matter of fact, not who do we believe, who do we know that we are? And where are some places that you can check on it? Now, once again, you got to. Oh, no, no. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going out of order. Excuse me. I'm going out of order. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm going out of order. Today was not supposed to be that. I was studying a little bit of that. But this rising. Today is actually supposed to be on creation. There we go. Creation. A creator, right? And so that obviously means that we're going to have to deal with some and probably have some people on here going to be quick to hit us with the, evolution, even if they don't even know there's six forms of evolution, and then we got to figure out which form of evolution are they arguing, right? Because there's six types of evolution. People don't even know that. They just say evolution as if that should mean something specific to us, right? And we're going to talk about the fact that evolution requires just as much faith, if not more so, in all honesty, than what they say you shouldn't have faith in. They say that, hey, man made the Bible, and you shouldn't have faith in something man made, right? Even though they have faith in money and paychecks and everything. But in the meantime, while they're saying that you shouldn't have faith in what is man made, which okay, I agree with you. I don't believe that what we're talking about is man made stuff. But if that's where you want to go, and if that's the mindset that you have, is that since it's man made, you shouldn't listen to it. Well, then my question becomes, well, why are you talking about my mom, my mother's side of the family? For a couple generations, they were all up in Brooklyn, so Brooklyn means a lot to me and my family. Um, so yeah, when we talk about creation, when we talk about creationism, if you will, a system based off of creation, etc., we have to talk about what we believe. Once again, this is a series called Having Been Led as We Believe, right? This is not for everybody. So this is not necessarily for everybody. And that's something that you're going to see be a motif that continues, a theme that continues constantly and consistently. That what we're talking about is not something that's for everybody. And now people get weirded out by that because they're like, well, you say that if he's the creator of everybody, then why is it not for everybody? Well, because not everybody wants to listen and not everybody's ready to hear. It's like when you say, it's like when you're trying to teach a child about finances. My son can tell you that to be perfected, he's not perfected, he's not mature. And I'm sorry. Hopefully, I'm not going to keep going in and out on you guys. Um, it is what it is. TikTok's not, we live in the land of the shadow ban. So when we try to come before you, that's it's a lot of stuff. By the way, before we get somebody that says something about it, look, please make whatever questions, comments, or concerns you have. I will try my best to answer whatever questions, comments, or concerns that you may have. We ask that you keep it respectful. I will respect your belief system as well, because even though this is said, having been led as we believe, it doesn't mean that I will stomp on your belief, um, but allow us to be able to have proper conversation. Yeah, I apologize, Aline. You said you have to keep coming back on. We're shadow banned. They don't like it. Like, literally, this is Kofi underscore 43. I told you guys we're going to start the Kofi underscore 44 early this time so that by the time that they try to shut this one down, that they're trying to start. So until we can get that up and running, it is what it is. But just being right. Hey, shalom, angelic discipline. How you doing? So just as a reminder, as long as you're, going to be respectful of others in the chat, you won't have to worry about getting blocked or muted or anything like that. And by the way, um, somebody said I'm freezing up. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I apologize. I don't have where I am. I don't have any other type of signal to be able to give you. Can you hear me when it's pausing? You guys are saying it's just pausing altogether because on my end it says that I've got 5 bars and full, LTE or whatever it be called. So I don't know. Can anybody hear me now? Somebody let me know. Yes, no, maybe so. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? You hearing? Okay, somebody said they're hearing. It's pausing a bit. All right. You can? You hear now? Okay. That's okay. Right? That's okay. Right? We're telling you what we believe. That we're coming from stuff stuff. We're showing proof and evidence based off of what we believe is something that's tangible. So we're talking about tangible spiritually, tangible emotionally, tangible physically, etc. We're going to talk about creation, right? Why is it that we believe in creation? And I have to put this disclaimer out because a lot of people make the assumption that I was raised in church or something my whole life, or I always believe what I believe, or that when I'm this person who's a black Hebrew Israelite that hates white people and all white people are Esau and all that. That's not what I'm here for. All right, that's not what I'm here to do. Um, okay, so right, I'm here to let you know that I came across this through study, through prayer. I was an agnostic for a while, and once I found certain truths to be held across the board, right, I found those to be universal truths before I even called them kingdom truths. I found that there was different things, right? I apologize. It's pausing, but that's so we're gonna talk about law today. I'm gonna just do my best to power through. I apologize. It's coming in and out, in and out, in and out. I don't know what I can do for you guys, but prayerfully, I'm usually pretty repetitive, so make sure I get points home. So prayerfully, you guys will get the point and the gist of what I'm talking about. All right. Once again, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to make sure that you are, you put them in the question mark box if you can. I will try my best to answer stuff as it scrolls through. However, I'm a human being and I got multiple platforms going at the same time. So I may or may not be able to get to your questions, okay? Please make sure they're relevant questions as well, because if they're not really relevant as far as what we're talking about, they probably will not necessarily be dismissed, but be pushed back in line some because I have a certain assignment to take care of, right? So we're talking about creation. So number one, we brought this up a few times, but let's just start here. When we start off the Tanakh, no, I'm just playing with you. What was it? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the see, you got me messed up. You got me laughing now. I forgot. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So, Barashit bara Elohim at Shemayim at Aret. So in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. All right. So that's if that's what we're talking about. In the beginning, Elohim creates the heaven and the earth. All right. So that is for us. That's the beginning of all. That's what we believe, right? Haven't been led as we believe. So we're led when we're led by things. Culturally, we're coming from a situation, from a position, from a thought process, from a mindset that says that we believe that Elohim created the heaven and the earth. We don't believe that there was a fight between gods. Thank you for the compliment on the hair. We don't believe that there were gods that were fighting back and forth and pieces of them fell apart and that's how the earth came to be. We don't believe that the universe is only what you think is reality, therefore you are the God, or we don't believe that you are the God of your reality, right? We don't believe that. We don't believe that just because um, we don't believe that um, I don't know that basically everything is random. We don't believe in things evolving. We don't believe that it took hundreds of billions of years for things to come to be, right? That's haven't been led as we believe, right? Once again, so this is not for everybody. It doesn't have to be for everybody else. This is what we're talking about, having been led as we believe. What we believe. What do we believe, right? And what we believe is that in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Yes, Friday board. Yes, sir. So that's what we believe. We believe that in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so that's our belief system. Now, or you can just listen in to hear why we believe what we believe. So when we say having been led as we believe, so those who believe in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth, or those who are part of our organization, or those who are part of the belief of the Torah, or believe in Elohim, or believe in creation instead of evolution, etc., etc. Right? Yes, Elohim is plural. Elohai is singular. Elohim is plural. Yeah, I know. People keep telling me it's freezing. I don't know what to tell you. I've got all the signal on my phone. It says that I've got everything that's there. So I don't know what to tell you. I apologize. So if you're able to hang in there, if you don't feel like hanging in there, if you're just going to listen to this on YouTube later or the podcast later, it might have to be something. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but I got to be faithful, okay? So so when we get to this place where people are saying, um, you know, having been led as we believe that bara, simply this. What is a universe, right? If you believe in a universe, if you believe in the universe, then you know you believe in somebody who could have created the universe, right? If you believe in the universe, then you must comprehend by definition that you believe in somebody who could create the universe. That's that's number one. Now somebody would say, well, that's weird, that's stupid. What are you talking about? It doesn't make sense because we're talking about what we believe culturally, right? That's why we spent the first couple of times on culture, right? Said I nope, I'm already wrong. So check this out. What does universe mean? For the person that said, and I know somebody else, so those of you who've been with us for a little bit, you already know what we're talking about. But what does the word universe mean that you use? Because we try to keep redefining words and we keep trying to shift them up. Well, okay, you got muted. All right. So let's do it. Let's just say it like this: a universe, and I'll go ahead and support our The people who are verse means spoken sentence. Sorry. So let's try that again. Uni means a, and verse means spoken sentence. They're gonna try all day to make sure that we can't be on here, but that's okay. You're gonna get this word today, right? Uni means a, and verse means spoken sentence. So when we talk about a universe or the universe, you're talking about a single spoken sentence, which means if you believe in the universe, by definition, you can't have a universe that's spoken unless somebody's able to speak it. Did y'all catch that? So even though people would say, "Up, that's wrong. You're wrong already. This and that, or whatever." I'm telling you, if we just go off of what words are, see, people have changed things so long, and they keep changing definitions to make sure that their ideals are in place and on point. They've been messed. So they've changed things so many times, and they keep doing things so many times and changing what's being said and what's being spoken, right? That they're not able to hear the truth. You're speaking when you speak. You're speaking words that are ancient words, right? Or they're based on something, or even how to converse with something. That's why you communicate, trying to be one with somebody, right? So these words have value that come before you. You're just, a lot of us in our etymology believe that what we have as far as our modern etymology is the end all be all of everything. The reality is it's a lot more to that, right? So people will change stuff, and really words, you got to be careful with words. Like somebody hit me to this a long time ago. If you buy a Bible, or if you can find a Bible that's 25 years old, look at that King James Version 25 years ago and look at the King James Version you're reading now and see how different they are. They changed it already. Every 25 years, everything as far as language is changing, and that's not a great thing. Because check this out, when they're trying to heal you and do all this stuff, what do? They go all the way back to the ancient times to be able to do the stuff now. Like you keep talking about the father of modern medicine. The father of medicine that was doing surgeries and stuff way back in the day, that's Imhotep. That's 5,000 years ago. Sorry, TikTok is doing everything it can to make sure we can't be on. The universe is a single spoken sentence, right? That's what uni means. A universe. Uni, a verse, spoken sentence. So a spoken sentence or a single spoken sentence. That's what the universe means. So we can't talk about the universe without talking about it being spoken into existence. So if the universe is spoken into existence, then that means somebody had to be able to speak it into existence. So if something is universal, that means that it has to be something that is universal attached to the one, because there's universal is talking about there's a oneness to it, a oneness to it, and versal, it speaks, or it was spoken, which means that anything universal that has to be connected to the one who made the universe. See how these words work together, right? And people are going to be against, they're going to be upset, they're going to be frustrated, but it's universal. And thank you for the gifts, thank you for the likes, thank you. You said the Bible is Elohim's word. The Bible is the real Bible is not written. Well, number one, so the Bible, it just comes from the word biblios. Now, if you're talking about the Tanakh, we can have a different conversation. But the word Bible just means biblios. Biblios doesn't just mean set of books. Biblios used to be an island where they made what we call the first books, as far as the way the books look now. They didn't make the first scrolls. They didn't make the first tablets, but they made the first books, so to speak, what we turn through and stuff like that. And so all they call it is holy. Holy means whole, one set, right? So it's a set of books that's supposed to be whole within itself, one, uni, right? So even when you use the term Bible, you're talking about something that's written in and of itself, right? Does it come? Should it be something that's compared that comes in as manifest from the Spirit? Sure, But when we're talking about stuff that's not written this and that or whatever, there's physical manifestation of everything. If I speak something, it can be physically manifest. Finalta says, and if you. hmm, And if you're not careful, so if you're not careful, what will happen with your universe is that you will speak things, and your universe will what? Your universe can be negative, and also too, but the negative things they will what be thrown into the lake of fire because they can't be universal if they're not in tune with the one who made the universe. Therefore, they will have to die off at some point. That's what death is. Death was created before man was created. When you read your Bible, right? Shalom BDS. Uh, Death is created before man was created. Just death had no power until man sinned. Once man sinned, man had to die. Why? Because you couldn't live in an evil state forever. So you had to be separated from the tree of life, which would have meant that you would have lived eternally with this tree of knowledge of good and evil, which basically is translated to the tree that makes you think that your knowledge is greater than Yah's. That's really what the translation should be. But people are into all types of other theology and things. They told us that half of us had to believe in what that the Bible was written in Greek. I'm sorry, y'all. It's getting worse and worse. TikTok does not want this thing to work. I don't know what to tell you guys, but we're gonna continue to push through. Hopefully, you guys are getting the gist of what we're saying. I don't even know where it cut off. I looked up and I saw the signal was gone. So I don't know. Not my signal. The signal on TikTok. I have no clue what's going on. But anyways, getting back to creation. So yeah, we're made in the image of Elohim. Um, well, you said if it's holy, why keep changing it? We shouldn't keep changing it. We don't believe that you should. This haven't been led as we believe. We don't believe that you should change it. We believe in Matthew chapter 5, verse 18, that you shouldn't change one jot or tittle. Jot means the most minuscule of measurements. Tittle means literally the way that it's written. We believe that it should stay fine. We shouldn't define it, break it down, or redefine it, keep breaking it down to make sure that it fits our stuff. We should just leave it fine, intact as it is. If I have full signal and somehow, if I have full signal and you guys keep getting taken off, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so having been led as we believe. So creation, number one, creation is implied in the word universe because universe is a single spoken sentence. Now, for us, what is that single spoken sentence? In the beginning, Elohim created heaven and earth. That's it, right? That's a single spoken sentence. We don't have to. I don't have to go into a deep thing of changing it and doing all this other stuff. Like if it's real, it's real. He said, no, evolution has guided our appearance as organisms. No magic sky daddy. That is a myth. So, question for you: which evolution are you talking about? If you don't mind, John, which evolution? Are you aware that there's multiple evolutions? Number one, which evolution are you speaking on? Because we got to first make that clear. This is the problem that when it comes to evolution, because evolutionists have to have faith too. About number one, do you know that there's more than one type of evolution? And which one are you referring to? And are you mixing and matching? Right? Even when we're talking about that, right? Okay, hello, Paisley. Right? Which one are you talking about? See, because understand that there's a bunch of evolutions, right? There are a bunch of evolutions. So we got evolution that talks about the stars. We have the evolution that talks about everything, the Big Bang type theory or whatever, right? We have an evolution that has to deal with um, um, the Earth itself, right? You have an evolution that's dealing with, which is probably what you're coming out of macro evolution that says that this species came from this species that came from this species. You have evolution that deals with space, what's going on, right? So when we're talking about these evolutions, once again, you got six. What are the six evolutions? The six evolutions, you're dealing with the stars, you're dealing with space, you're dealing with everything all together, you're dealing with um, the earth by itself. You're dealing with species coming from species, and you're dealing with species having babies. Which one of the six are we talking about? Right? Which one are we talking about? You said, what's the difference between Hotep and woke? That's not necessarily what I'm talking about, but in all honesty, um, being aware, being awake, I don't care what you call it. It's important to make sure that in all you're getting, you get an understanding, get something you can stand under. Or some of you would say overstand, but overstand and understand mean two different things. Um, Nevertheless, though, see, and there's no answer to that, right? You understand? Like when I ask that question, there's no answer to the question. Like we must be honest with ourselves. We must have a real conversation. If you're gonna talk about evolution, right, then you gotta tell me what you have faith in, because that's the problem. A lot of people don't have that part of the conversation. But let's be honest. Part of the problem is if we're talking about evolution, you have to have faith in something that you've never seen. You have to have faith. Mhm. Also, this current evolution of the spiritual realm. What? I didn't catch what you're talking about. The evolution of the spiritual realm. I don't know about that which always is, for he that is and was and forever shall be. Right? I don't know. So, once again, it's haven't been led as we believe. The Elohim that I serve, Yahweh, whom I serve, he doesn't have a beginning or an end. So, he is. Right? In time, I have to talk about the fact that it's not that I have to have faith in something. If I'm going to talk about evolution, I have to have faith in something, right? Because I haven't seen it. That's like, as much as people want to talk about this stuff, here's the deal. When you hear somebody tell you something science, but they tell you that something happened billions of years ago, then they're telling you you have to have faith. It's a theory. It's not a fact. That's why many people are guided by theories. That's why I say all the time, we don't give facts and we don't give context, but we give contextual facts. Many people are out here trying to get us to believe in theories rather than believe in facts. All right, a theory is not a fact. A theory is, hey, like this is the point of a theory. A theory is created because I don't know how to talk about how to get from A to C, so I use theory to be my letter B. And once I found out what my letter B is, now I can say, okay, I can use this theory until I get to what B actually is, and then come to find out, oh, okay, well B, even if it's correct, it's right. So in essence, when you get taken to school, when you grew up in school, when your children go to school now, when you went to college, you had a bunch of theories that were thrown at you, and you have faith that those theories are correct, right? Like that's really what happens. Is like you've had theories thrown at you. So, for example, if you went to school and you learned about gravity, I understand what people mean when they talk about gravity, but gravity is not a real thing. Gravity is a theory. It's the theory of gravity, which was disproven. By the way, Sir Isaac Newton didn't even want his name on the theory of gravity when he died. Nevertheless, people don't want to hear that because they're like, "Oh, you're foolish." No, no, no. Gravity is a theory, and it was disproven. You know why I know it was disproven? Because it was disproven by the theory of relativity. That was Albert Einstein. That's why what he did was so powerful, because when Albert Einstein talked about the theory of relativity, he actually disproved the theory of gravity. Because we think gravity just means what holds you to the earth. But the thing about Einstein disproved the theory of gravity, right? If Albert Einstein therefore disproves the theory of gravity, why do you still learn it in school? It's because somebody has faith in it. So much faith that even though they will teach you, and watch this, here's the wild part. It's cognitive dissonance. They will teach you both, won't they? They'll teach you the theory of gravity, which has been disproven, and the theory of relativity, which disproved the theory of gravity. Watch this. And the theory of relativity has been disproven since. So Albert Einstein's theory has been disproven. So they're teaching you two theories that are not correct and saying that we want you to believe in these theories. We want you to have faith in these theories. We want you to have a blind faith. Now, these are the same terms that people would say if I told you that in the beginning I believe that Elohim created heaven and earth. Right? Now they have disproven their own theories and but still teach them in school. But if I were to say you should teach the Bible in school, which by the way is legal. Now you have to back up a teacher. A teacher has to choose to teach the Bible, and if they do, then you have to come as parents and support them, right? Oh wow. So your children have to learn a faith in school. Yeah, believing without facts. Your children are being taught a faith in school, right? Your children, yeah, I know. I don't know what to tell you. All right, I have full signal as far as what it says. TikTok doesn't like us when we're on, and I usually have access to other things I can do to kind of finesse that. But it is what it is. Right now, I'm traveling, so I can't do it so much. But you're taught to have a faith in school. You hear what I'm saying? You're taught to have a faith in school, right? You've been taught that a mammoth existed in this time period, this many millions of years ago, this and that, or whatever. Then when they find mammoth pieces and they test how long it's been, they'll tell you that a mammoth is still hundreds of millions of years old, or 27 million years old, or this many hundreds of thousands of years old. Problem is that they don't know themselves, because when they test one part of the mammoth in their own belief system, they've got problems. They have problems within their own belief system. You hear what I'm telling you? They have problems within their own belief system. Right? Within their own belief system, they already have a problem. They already have an issue. You're right? Because we keep redefining things. We keep redefining things. So once again, if You believe in the universe. The word universe means a single spoken sentence. How can you believe in the universe if you don't believe somebody spoke the sentence into existence? Right? How can you say when somebody tells about evolution taught us everything? It's like, well, do you even know which one of the six evolutions you're talking about? Now, here's another thing, because people normally go off of the fifth version of evolution, which is talking about Darwin. Right? That's usually where people are going, is Charles Darwin, which he has been disproven by his own evolutionary disciples themselves. Types of evolution. So if you're dealing with the six types of evolution, you're talking about the fifth type of evolution specifically. Charles Darwin is what you guys go to. Why did Charles Darwin say evolution was there? He said it was there for manifest destiny. He said it was there for the white man's burden. Read the title of the book. Right? Read the title of the book. Why would you be with somebody who wrote a whole book to say white people on top, black people on the bottom, unless you're okay with that? That's what that was written for. Read the title of the book. It's called The Origin of Species, The Theory of Evolution, The Struggle for Survival for Favored Races. And then he went in the book to tell you how things that he didn't even know. By the way, Charles Darwin himself was somebody who the only degree he has is in preaching. His only degree is in theology. His degree is not in science. Back then, you paid for your degree. So he went to school and did whatever he felt like doing and looked at some microscopes, didn't even know what he was looking at half the time. And then basically his mom and daddy paid so that after a year he could get his degree and keep it moving. Then he traveled on a boat, went to Galapagos Island, and came up with something that his own disciples disproved. I'm catching it now. All right. Here it is. Yep. Okay. So I'm catching it now. The signal piece. So I got a little rhythm now. So I'll be pausing, but I'm gonna make sure I get you some stuff. Pausing gonna be like a heavyweight battle. I'm gonna be in and out, but I'm getting the timing down. I can see when they start getting ready to try and take us away, and then they bring us right back. Okay, all right. So you gotta check out your man's in them. If you believe in Charles Darwin and evolution and the fifth version of evolution, macroevolution, then check out your man. Why are you checking? Why are you believing in somebody who was also a lunatic, not crazy? I'm talking about he worshipped the moon. So he was somebody who got his degree in theology and worshipped the moon. That's why he was called the lunatic, because he did lunar worship, and therefore he worshipped Ishtar, which is Easter, right? That's who he was worshiping. He was somebody who didn't like black people, put black people on the bottom, white people on the top, and wrote a whole book about it, and was supported by people like his uncle. And by the way, his cousin is where you get eugenics from, because his cousin was raised by his uncle. His uncle hated the concept of Elohim or any god or Netzer or anything like that, and his uncle taught people don't comprehend where this stuff comes from. You're talking about a universe, right? But how can you talk about a universe if you don't know that a universe is a single spoken sentence? And how can you therefore deny? So here's the deal. Like, this is why I said you got to make sure people stop trying to change, shift definitions, because they're lying to you, right? It's a lot of Greco-Roman stuff going on. You're being lied to constantly and consistently, and being told that this stuff is real. They mess with my signal. They mess with a lot of stuff that we do just because, we're shadow banned. It is what it is. So prayerfully they haven't messed with it so much that we can't download this later. We'll be able to have it on YouTube for those who are coming in late or something like that. But, it is what it is. Like, you're dealing with people that are talking bad about creation and don't know what they believe. That's why we say haven't been led as we believe. We're trying to show people why we believe what we believe. I haven't even gone deep into the Bible. We could talk about the fact that even scientifically it makes sense the way the Bible's set up, because it went gas, liquid, solid, right? In the beginning, the earth was without form and void, gas, right? Like you have to, you got to understand where this stuff is coming from. You said the pot bean looks better for me. I get continued. Go to podcast. Yeah, yeah. It's. I apologize. I don't know what to tell you guys today on TikTok. TikTok's being extra special today, but it is what it is. People are talking about if you want to go to the podcast, listen on the podcast, you can do that as well. But we're trying to give you something that you can see. I know this is usually a place of comfort for people, even though now they're trying to do everything they can to get us off track. So it is what it is. But you got to understand that this is real talk, right? Like, this is real. You can't talk about a universe and not realize it had to be spoken. That's the definition of universe, spoken sentence. You're living inside what somebody spoke. Yeah, when you get to Christianity, that's based on Greco-Roman stuff. That's why I don't worship God. I worship Elohim. That's a different thing. I don't worship Netus. That's a different thing, right? It's a different recognize what's going on. So they're going to fight against it. They don't want you and I to be able to have conversation like this, to where you would be able to recognize that, wait a minute, I can't talk about a universe without, like, that's basic, right? But once again, that's I'll give Martin Luther some credit here. That's what Martin Luther actually was against with the Roman Catholic Church, among some other things. He was trying to tell them, hey, Um, you guys don't even speak in a language people can comprehend. So since you don't speak in a language people can comprehend, or you won't teach them Latin and stuff, they don't know what you're talking about. Well, here you are talking about universe, and people are having arguments about universe, and they don't know how to break down the word uni and verse. Amen. Yeah, they are different. I mean, I can check it out. You guys have to send me the stuff. I'm not gonna remember all these places you guys are saying we can go, but we're definitely looking at other alternatives down the road. But this is stuff because the universe has to be a single spoken sentence. I'm sorry, Beverly, were you trying to jump on? You had something to say on the podcast? If you did, trying to allow you to come on and say something real quick. If you wanted to, you were definitely invited to speak. Um, but once again, it's hard to talk about a universe if you know that and say that somebody didn't create it if it has to be spoken into existence. And it's often weird because we believe that you got to speak something into existence. They say you see all these videos on here. I don't chase anything. Everything chases me. And only things that chase me are positive. You see all these affirmations on there. I don't chase money. Money finds me. People say these things over and over again. Yet you believe that the universe didn't have to be spoken, right? You believe everything in the universe it has to be spoken, but you don't believe the universe itself is spoken, right? So when I spoke about Martin Luther, I didn't say I'll give him all the credit. I said I'll give him some credit. He did talk about some things that are real. Like I didn't say he didn't teach any Roman Catholic. Matter of fact, we teach the truth, which is that Martin Luther actually said or said he wanted to stay as part of the Roman Catholic Church. So people that are Lutherans, they actually went on their own and just used his name. Right, they kind of use Lutherface, like blackface. They use Lutherface, so to speak, to create their own thing. But he did say that you shouldn't be teaching in languages that people can't comprehend and can't study for themselves. And he did teach that you need to go away from this perverted cosmology that exists today. Those are two things that he was very out front on. So I give him credit for that. Even if you want to give him zero credit for anything, I don't believe that you should give people zero credit. All human beings, even if they do evil, all human beings have something that you can find of value in them, right? The second that we stop looking for value in humanity is the second that we have a real big issue. Uh, that people worship and adore the creation, but not the creator. That's really the problem, right? And that's why people don't want to talk about a creator. If you have a creator, you got to be held accountable. If somebody can speak you into existence, it means they could speak you out. You, right? Like that's real talk. That's a bar right there. Like thank you, Holy Spirit, for that. I didn't even come up with that. Like that's straight led. But like if somebody can speak you into existence, they can speak you out, can't they? Bill Cosby and them used to say that, right? Because your parents and your grandparents used to say that. I brought you in this world, I could take you out. If somebody could speak you into existence, they can take you out. That means you got to listen. That means that there's got to be some type of obedience. Oh, and people don't like to obey. People don't even like to sacrifice, but obedience is better than sacrifice. It gives better results. And people do not like to obey. They'll obey when it comes to maybe it might get them some money. Why? Because they worship money, so they're okay with obeying there. They'll be obedient, right? It's called the Kofi Ofori podcast. Thank you, Minister Tamer. Just put it in the comment section. So just off the from the jump. No, thank you, Beverly. Yeah. So just from the jump, it's easy to be able to see this stuff if you just know what the words mean. You've been taught that words aren't supposed to be what they mean, right? Or you've been taught that somebody can tell you a word and then redefine it right before your very eyes. And because you haven't learned the word usage yet, and you're going by somebody else's cultural appropriation of it, you just say, okay, I'll rock with whatever y'all tell me. So you tell me the universe is just something that is created itself and it's going to create itself again, and it takes hundreds of billions of years for it to start, and this is stuff that's happening, and nobody has been around 100 billion years except somebody who could have actually seen it. So maybe, or the person who would have created it. So maybe if I want to go to the person, there was what somebody wants you to believe that there was an explosion. Hear me again. Somebody wants you to believe there was an explosion in what? In the midst of a vacuum. In a vacuum, stuff just keeps traveling. It doesn't stop. Somehow, some way, though, in an explosion, in the middle of a vacuum, everything kept moving and would have never touched each other because it would have kept moving away from each other at the same rate of speed. And nothing would have ever slowed down because it's supposed to be, this is what they tell you. They tell you space is a vacuum. So everything was supposed to explode in the midst of a vacuum. Nothing was supposed to slow down. Nothing was going to be able to touch each other. And somehow, some way, the universe that you know somehow came into existence. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, at some point, and they keep telling you every day that the universe is supposed to keep on moving, which means that Earth should be moving away from the sun, but it doesn't, according to their cosmology, right? Yeah, vacuum has no O2, so combustion as well, right? So how did the explosion happen? What ignited the? What they're telling you doesn't add up. What they're telling you doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. You can't have an explosion in the midst of a vacuum. You can't have fire. You can't have something that's on fire. You can't have something that's burning in the midst of a vacuum. Oh wow, thank you, brother Dennis. Right? You can't do it. This is stuff that we were taught. There had to be a big bang, right? Matter of fact, here's the theory of the Big Bang. Do you know that they used to say that all the stuff in the universe was in something like the size of the Milky Way? Then they said all the stuff in the universe was in something the size of the solar system. Then they said everything was like in something the size of the sun. Then they said, well, no, maybe it was the size of the Earth. And it's gotten down to where they said at one point it was in the size of something the size of a period, the period of a magazine. And then they went from that to saying it's even smaller than that. Maybe it's an explosion that came from nothing. Think about this now. So they're scientifically are trying to tell you in a physical universe. What are you in? You are in a physical universe. So as being somebody who is in a physical universe, what that translates to is this, is that I'm in a physical universe. That means that I am in something that somebody spoke. I am in something physically that somebody spoke, right? So if science even is teaching your children now that something came from nothing and they're in a universe, then scientifically speaking, somebody has to speak what came from nothing, or what we would call the spirit, into something physical, or what they would call something. Something has to come from nothing is what science says. That's what science teaches you to have faith in. I have faith in the same thing, but they tell you that I'm crazy. You have faith in the same thing, but they tell you you're crazy. Once again, if you know what a universe is, it's hard to say that creation didn't exist because a universe is something that has to be spoken. When you recognize that a universe is a single spoken sentence and you're living in a single spoken sentence, the question isn't anymore, um, could somebody have spoken into the existence? The question now has to become, who spoken into existence, right? You said for some reason you grew up having faith in something you honestly didn't believe in. Yeah. And by the way, that's what happens. You like even think about what happens with your children. Your children, you tell your children you want them to go to your church or whatever, but then you want them to go to school. And you say, and you put more stock in the school than you do the stuff at church. Now you want them to just be at church. You don't want to ask any questions. You don't want to ask them about creation. You don't want to ask them. You don't want them to ask about race. You don't want to ask about any of this. They go to school. They deal with all that though, all day long, all day long. This is why your child goes to school. Your child goes to school and is supposed to answer in contradiction to the word. So, for example, the word says that the earth was created before the sun, the moon, and the stars. Your child's supposed to go home and say that the earth was created after the sun, the moon, and the stars. They learn in contradiction to the word. Right, yeah. If you want to pass that test, you're going to make sure that you say what they say, or else you're not going to be able to get. They're going to tell you you're not going to be able to do anything unless you do stuff right. That's why we homeschool. We got to homeschool because we can't have our children going through stuff to where they're learning what everybody else tells them they're supposed to learn. Like we don't agree with that. We believe in creation, right? You got to learn about evolution. Evolution is something that's supposed to make sure that white people survive and everybody else doesn't because hey, it's survival of the fittest. That's what evolution teaches. I could care less about you. You know, people are trying their best to hold on to it, so they'll try to defend it. Just read the title of the book by Charles Darwin. That's what he's right. Question for you: if somebody wants you to believe in something that they've never seen, what would you call that? You would call that faith. But they want you to believe in something they've never seen. They've never seen an animal turn into another animal. They've never seen it. They've never seen fossilization. They've never seen fossilization. They don't know how something becomes a fossil. But they told you how it happens, didn't they? It's faith. It's faith based. I'm trying to tell you, like, if your only reason for saying that you don't believe in creation is because it requires faith, like you require more faith in something where you believe in a universe, but you don't believe somebody spoke it. That's why looking at something been out for some years now, something called intelligent design, where they don't want to say that the Most High had designed anything, but they say that nature designed itself. And I'm sorry for not reading the comments and stuff, but as you can see, since they're trying their best to make sure that our signal doesn't work every day, your children are out here learning about intelligent design. And as they're learning about intelligent design, your children are sitting up, you're trying to figure out why does your child not like, here's something I want you to see. When you're, if you have a child that is talking about going to Bible college or seminary, most people who go to Bible college and seminary, they come out not believing. Now, some, you know what the atheist or the person who's an evolutionist or whatever would tell you, they would tell you, see, that's proof that they go to school and they realize that something's wrong with this. No, they go to school and they don't get taught their culture at all. Like, would it surprise you that the Bible says to seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and all its righteousness and all these things will be added unto you? Yet, when their children go to school, they'll never have a course on monarchy, what a king is, what a queen is, what a kingdom is. They'll never learn it. Right, but your child will go to school. They'll learn about evolution, though. They'll say we got to teach you about evolution because if you don't know about evolution, you won't know how to combat it. But they don't know how to teach you. Sending your baby boy, your baby girl to seminary, right? You sending your baby boy, your baby girl to seminary, and they're going to learn about evolution, but won't learn about the kingdom. What chance did you think that they were going to be able to continue to learn and to grow and to function? Right, yeah, that's why we have to be responsible for what our children are taught. Yeah, but the system is designed what that you need to go somewhere. We're going to teach your child, and here's the weird thing. So they're going to tell you and I that your child should be able to choose everything about themselves. They should be able to choose their sexuality, this, that, whatever, right? And they say that you shouldn't have anything to do with them. Don't put that on them. But then they say send your child to school. Excuse me. So I'm not supposed to teach my child how to be an adult. However, I'm supposed to entrust that to you. I mean, tell me where it makes sense. This is creationism. It's coming out of this, right? Um, creationism has you believing in all this stuff. You know, in the 1900s in America, what they teach in school, right? And they say on the news, and they say all over the place. And you see all these people on platforms who've been taught this something about ancient Kemetic people. They knew that the Earth was round. That's how they built the pyramids. No, ancient Kemetic people didn't believe that. They believed that the sun went around the Earth. So even when you're trying to learn Afrocentric culture, so to speak, and Afrocentric theology, those of you who are trying to even be obedient to Afrocentric natures, you can't even worship your nature, correct? Because you don't know that your nature is supposed to be worshipped differently because you're still trying to worship it through somebody else's prism. You said no man has ever seen Elohim at any time, sure, but the Bible also says that, that nature proves the handiwork of Elohim. Right? We don't have to act like it has to be something like if Elohim created things, like for example, we know if you look at DNA and how the ladder ties itself together, whatever it has to go in what? It has to go in Yahweh. It has to go 10, 5, 6, 5. But I get what people mean when they say, we're climbing Jacob's ladder, right? When you're climbing up that DNA ladder, you have to go 10, 5, 5, 6, 5. You can't put DNA together without Yahweh, right? When people say, what's in a name? Your DNA, right? Like, I mean, it's that so it proves even when we talk about melanin, which they try to teach you that melanin's in stars and melanin's in space. Well, okay, fine. Even what's the plant version of melanin? Chlorophyll. It's the same thing. Coming from where? The pineal gland. The pineal gland based off of the pine of the pine cone, right? Which is what we call the pineal gland and stuff like that. Where the ancient Kemetic people actually studied the pine. Who also is ancient Kemetic? Who's mixed with Kemetic people? Israel is, right? Like this is stuff that we can simply see where this stuff comes from. We can see who tied this to what, who learned from who, what they did in the land of Goshen, all these different things. Man is nothing. I mean, okay, that's fine. Contextually, I guess I get what you say. At the end of the day, I don't, at the end of the day, when it comes to creation, the goal is to get you guys to just see a little different. The goal is to get you guys to see that somebody's got this thing twisted up so much that we're looking at somebody else's culture, we're not seeing ourselves. Matter of fact, you're so busy looking at humankind, you're not even looking at humanity, right? You can't have a universe unless somebody spoke it into existence, right? You can't have the earth, right? Unless the Most High spoke it into existence. You can talk about all this stuff all day about these bones are bigger than these bones, so this animal must have came from this animal. But the reality is that you have nothing to prove it outside of what somebody's theory is. So even if nothing else, I want you to think about stuff differently in this regard. If you take nothing, excuse me, nothing else away from this conversation that's been broken up so many times. What is this called again? What is the series called? Having been led as we believe. One more again. What is the series called? The series is called Having Been Led as We Believe. And so, since we're talking about what we believe, this is, like I said, you're going to find this to be a theme that not everybody believes what we believe, which means that this is not for everybody. I'm simply explaining what we believe, right? Those who have an ear, let them hear. So, if you believe this, that's great. If you don't believe this, though, let me at least put this out there for you so you don't feel left out. If you don't believe in what I'm saying, at least understand that there's something weird about the fact that there are words that are being used that, for whatever reason, they mean something different, and you were never taught that they mean something different than what you think they do. Because something universal has to be one with the person who spoke it into existence. So, how can you believe in a universe and not believe somebody spoke it into existence? Right? Right? That's reality. Yeah, I know. It's the full bars thing. I have full bars and I'm being cut off. So hopefully it's TikTok just having issues, but I am shadow banned. I do see people that come on here have 2,000 and something people in their lives and they're not having the same issues. So we're trying to start all over. And we were at a point where we were having 20, 30,000 on live with regularity. So now that we came back and we started off pretty strong, um, it's to be expected. They don't have anything on us yet, or they haven't had anybody lie about us yet and say that we're selling drugs or doing weird stuff on our platform. So, and they know that we're doing stuff legally, putting stuff together, so they have to be very careful on how it's blocked. But that's why I understand it's somebody else's platform. It's not mine to govern. So, at the end of the day, though, and if you want, hey, every once in a while, put in something in the comment section or something saying, hey, why is it that I tried to look at Kofi? It's an uneasy relationship, put it that way. It's an uneasy relationship. I don't work for TikTok. TikTok doesn't work for me. The kingdom doesn't work for TikTok, and TikTok doesn't work for the kingdom. Right? They realize that some of you will watch some things and come on TikTok because of people like myself and others, so they will allow it. But at the end of the day, they're not going to allow it so much. Right? I know people think everything's China and this and that or whatever. TikTok is European. TikTok is American. Like there's TikTok America. That's what's going on. I know where it was developed. This, that, whatever. Like you're dealing with America when you're dealing with TikTok. Okay, always understand. At the end of the day, though, today the goal was to talk about creation. I think even with all the distractions and even with a lot of people that just ended up leaving because it was hard for them to watch on TikTok. For those who came over to the podcast, we appreciate you for coming over. Nevertheless, um, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like creation, it's very apparent that it's there. There's some things you have to have faith in, sure, but you have to have more faith to make science work. Science says that you came from a That's what science says. Science says that you might have to walk. Science says because a chimpanzee or an orangutan, has a brain and it can smile. Therefore, it says that the orangutan and you are exactly the same. You said extraterrestrial. I missed that part. I don't really do the extraterrestrial thing, in all honesty. I'm not saying that I'm against the idea that there could be something extraterrestrial. I just haven't seen anything that makes me believe it. I've seen some very good theories on it, though. And I would say one of the things I have an issue with is when people usually they'll point to Kemet or something like that, or to South America and they'll be like, "See, these things that were built, only aliens could have built them." Only aliens, and they talk about the Netchers and stuff. Those were really aliens. Problem with that is we know the Netchers were actually men and women first, and then they made them into deities after they died. Number one. Number two, why is it that whenever black and brown people make something, hey man, I got you, brother Dennis. Yeah, I hear you. So, it's when people are talking about things that are alien to them, right? A lot of times they don't even realize like you're talking about immigrants to them, people who they can't think like, and they call you like people have to understand. That's why we went through the Willie Lynch syndrome series, right? If somebody calls you a savage, do you know that savage just in French means you're wild, and then when you're wild, it just means that you don't fit into somebody's civilization. So to be a savage is an insult in their community when they call us savage. When they call Taino people, Cherokee people, etc. savage, they're saying you're you don't fit in. Okay, I understand why you would call me a savage because I mess up your economic system. And I'm dangerous because you messed around and taught me your language. You were trying to limit it, but when I learned more of it and grew with it myself, I can now I can go through all the levels. Take Jesus the Savior out of the picture. Man wants to take Yashra'al out of the picture at any always simply because Elohim period has to be taken out the picture, right? It's a culture. It's a cultural thing. That's why we talk with culture. Who Elohim is, who Yahweh is, who He says He is, it has to be taken. Culture. Who Elohim is, who Yahweh is, who He says He is, it has to be taken out from the beginning. If you take it out from the beginning, like if you take out sense of self. Remember we talked about that. You have self, and you have uh, control, self-control, right? Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, gratefulness, faithfulness, meekness, and temperance. Temperance being self-control. You can have all the other eight of the DNA of the fruit, but if you don't have the self-control, then you're basically being controlled, right? If I take out sense of self and who you are, and the vision for your life and the purpose in your life, right, and what makes you you and what's inside of you, then what do? I can control you. And that's what's been happening for generations. The people are trying their hardest to be in a system that's not formed, right? They're trying their best to be of us, not just in a system, but of a system. Being in a system but not of it is, hey, I go out into the system, I see a police officer, I know that there's certain things that I can say or do to protect myself from him. I can be nice to him, this and that, or whatever. I'm always a weirdo. I'm not of it. That's not to protect me, right? All it takes is one woman to say that I did something, and I'll be in jail or be underground, in the physical, right? That's not being of it. A lot of people want to be in it and of it, though. They want to say, oh, that police officer, he's there to protect me. No, he's not. That police officer comes from a lineage of slave patrolmen. That police officer is sworn to uphold a corporation that's anti your humanity. That's why they don't want you to be a non-citizen national.